All right, we're back for day 3 of the 4 costly card investing mistakes course. This one's probably the number one biggest mistake I see at all levels of the market. So, not just beginners, but the more advanced folks still make this mistake all the time. And once you understand this, like it's so important if you can get this early and start to conceptualize why this matters and why you don't want to make this mistake over and over and over again, you're just going to be able to go so much faster in your business. It's going to unlock a different level for you. And so today's mistake is letting greed kill your momentum. And it's all about understanding that there are opportunity costs for every move that you make out there. Years ago, back when I was still building up my business, I was still kind of tight on money. I had to sell one card to get to the next card. I just didn't have a lot of resources to work with yet. I had kind of stretched my budget thin during this season, and I took a shot on a card that it was like $105, which at the time was a big purchase for me. And I thought it looked really gradable though. So I get it in the mail and I send it off for grading. And of course, I get a 9. And so not what we're looking for. If you know anything about like the modern grading game, you don't want 9s. They usually mean you're going to at best make maybe a couple of dollars, but usually you're going to lose a few dollars on 9s, especially in that value range. If I had got the grade I was wanting, I would have more than doubled my money. Would have been great, especially at that time, but didn't go that way. And so up until that point in my business, I had been really kind of loss averse. Like I tried to avoid losses at all costs. Even when I made a play and it didn't work out, I still held on to that card saying, well, man, if I haven't sold yet, I've still got a chance. But this time I didn't have the money that I needed to keep my business moving forward. I was stretched in other places and I just didn't have it. So I needed to sell this card, win, lose, or draw. I had to get rid of this thing. And so I put the card up for sale, market price on this thing, even though it got a 9, it was like $100 or $110. And after fees and the grading fee and everything, I ended up basically with $80 from the original 105 that I had spent. Do you know what happened when I sold that card? Nothing. Like nothing changed. Like the sun came up the next day, nobody died. Like we were good. And here's the thing. I shipped the card out and I had money in my account again. So all of a sudden I'm locked and loaded to get to the next card. And so it was eye-opening to me because I had never really thought about like, that sucked, but it wasn't that bad because now I can go and make another play that's going to make up for this. And so that's exactly what I did. I took that $80, I bought the next card, I sent it out for grading, and this one I did get the gem mint grade I was looking for. I ended up taking an offer for like $210 on this thing. So net of all fees, even though I had lost $20 on that first, or 25 bucks on that first card, this card, the second one, it made me over $100 of net profit. So think about that. Like if I had held on to that initial card, the 9, and tried to hope that the player did something magical on the field to make its value rise, or someone might overpay for it, or I could just kind of squeeze the top end of market price out of that card, I might have been holding that thing for months or even years before that happened, instead of just taking that $25 loss. But I took the loss so that I could get to the next card. And then that next card made me over $100 of profit. So without taking the loss, I wouldn't have made that money. And what ends up happening here is we just basically hurt ourselves twice. Like once on the original play that didn't work. So in this example, it was the grade, right? Like I didn't get the grade I was looking for. So loss number 1 is there. But then the second loss is the opportunity cost for that second card, that $80 card that I turned into $210 and made over $100 of net profit on. I would never have made that play had I been letting my ego get in the way. I'm like so fragile that I can't take a loss on a card to get to the second one. And so this is a major, major unlock when you realize that not every card is going to be the biggest win of your life. Like some aren't going to be. They're going to be small wins, they're going to be losses, but there's always another card to buy. So if you lose today, that doesn't mean you've lost forever. That just means that you're taking one step backward so that you can take 2 steps forward tomorrow. Now, the second example of this is trying to squeeze every imaginable penny out of the sale of your card every single time. And this doesn't matter if you're up or down on the card. If you're someone who's holding out for like the all-time high sale or, above what current market value is for your cards, first of all, you might just be running an eBay museum rather than an eBay store. So consider that. And maybe if that's the case, maybe you should lower some of your prices closer to market value. But you got to think about this like, What are we missing out on? What is that opportunity that we could be pursuing if we let go of this card a little bit faster? And is that a better play than holding on to this card? Now, to be fair, there are players where you can buy, hold, and win, and that's okay. But the vast majority of the time, if you're just holding on to a card to try to squeeze a few extra dollars out of it, that's not really the same thing as investing in a player that has big time upside. So, what I would rather do is sell that card and get to the next one where you do have bigger upside. And that's what I'd be looking for. So, here's a thought experiment to help illustrate this point. Would you rather have $100 right now or $125 in 3 months? Which sounds better to you? Because a lot of people are taking that 125 in 3 months. Like, man, I only got to wait 3 months and I get an extra 25% on this. I'm taking the $100 and I'm doing it every single time because I know that in that same 3 months, I can take that $100, go buy another card, send it off for grading, and have my grading order halfway back to me with a card that's worth way more, 250, 300, $350 instead of just waiting for that 100 to turn into 125. So there's always another opportunity out there to pursue something different. And you just have to weigh, all right, which one of these is going to give me the better upside, the faster upside, which is more realistic to happen. And that's how I make these decisions. But a lot of times it is about getting to that next card, especially after you've already executed your play. So, for example, last week I got an 8 card order back, and 2 of the cards in the order were the exact same card. I paid $60 each plus a $20 grading fee each. So I'm into each card for $80. When I sent them off for grading, they were between $250 and $350. And when I got them back last week, I was looking at comps because I'm getting ready to list these things, and the sales were more like 275, 285, 250, 260. There was a 319 like random buy it now thrown in there, 295, 305, 265 again. So there were a lot of sales, but they showed me that the market had fallen. It's not a 350 card anymore. It's more like 250 to 300 is probably the more realistic range. And so what I could have done is put those cards up for like 299 or even 319, see if I can get that same offer, but I probably would have been sitting there waiting for those to sell for quite some time. Instead, what I did is I put one at a time up, but I put the first one up for $249.99. Buy it now. Offers were off, and guess what happened? It sold in less than a day. I did the exact same thing with the second card. Guess what happened? It sold in less than a day. So even after the fees and stuff, I'm still making great money on these cards. So I had $80 into each of these cards and I sold them for $250 each. Now, would it have been nice if I could get 275, 320 for these cards? Absolutely, it would have been. But I would have been sitting there waiting because now there are a bunch of buy it nows that are sitting in that 250 to 275 range, kind of putting a cap on what the upside is. So had I listed there, my hunch is that I'd still be waiting to sell these cards. Instead, I've already made the next purchase. I've already bought other cards. They're in the mail right now on their way to me so that I can send these ones out and keep my grading operation moving. So the fix for this one is exactly that. Keep your money moving. Get to that next card. Get to the card that has way bigger upside. Don't sit here hoping that the card rises by another $5 or $10, but it's going to take you 6 months to get there. Like, sell that thing, get onto the next one, and go and make 10 times that much money on the next play. Opportunity cost is real. Don't get greedy. We don't have to retire from the sale of every single card, guys. Get to the next one. There's always another card out there to go and invest in. You got to make the next move. All right, that's it for this one, guys. Hopefully this has been valuable. Now, tomorrow we're going to cover one of my personal favorites because it's all about the grading game, and we're going to dig into some data and math, and I'm going to show you a way to get more out of every single grading submission that you make. Cannot wait. This is one of my favorite topics in this market. We'll see you tomorrow.